Hey everyone, welcome to Mad Backyard. Today we're going to be talking about how to easily solve some of the most common temperature problems you may run into while using your pitboss pellet grill. We're going to show you a couple simple modifications we made that only took a few minutes to install, but made a huge difference in the performance of our pitboss. So let's talk about the two most common problems that we ran into on our pitboss pellet grill. The first one is temperature accuracy, and that's where the pitboss thinks it's running at a certain temperature when it's really not. And let's talk about why that might be the case. If you want to come in, you'll see the pitboss has a thermometer probe over on the left side here. Okay, this probe right here is really the only way the pitboss knows what's going on inside the cooking chamber. So if the temperature probe thinks it's a certain temperature but it's really not, that's a big problem. You know, the pitboss adjusts how many pellets it's feeding to the fire pot, it adjusts the fan speed, it does everything based on what temperature it is and what temperature you're trying to achieve. So if it's getting the wrong reading on the temperature probe, that's going to throw off everything else. So as we know, the heat from our pitboss comes from the fire pot in the center where the pellets are burned. That heat comes up, and then what it's supposed to do is that ambient heat comes out around the sides of our flame broiler and slowly cooks our food nice and evenly and gives us a nice, even, stable temperature inside the pitboss. Unfortunately, that's not exactly what happens in reality. In reality, you can see that the flame broiler is curved. Now, if we take it out, and you can see how it's curved all the way through on that top edge there. If you look at the ledge that it sits on by the thermometer, you can see that this little ledge that it rests on is actually flat. So you've got a curved edge sitting on top of a flat ledge, and that's going to end up leaving a nice gap right there where that hot air from the fire pot's coming up and right at our thermometer. This one down below is curved, so it sits on here nice and flush. No hot air is coming out that way. A little bit is coming out the sides to cook our food, which is what we want, but the majority of that heat, we know heat rises, is coming up, hitting the flame broiler plate, and traveling right up towards our thermometer. So if you think about it, all that hot air is rushing right at our thermometer here. The pitboss may think it's at 250 degrees or 275, when in actuality, the rest of the cooking chamber is running at about, 210, 220, and that's a huge temperature variance that we need to try to correct. Luckily, we found a simple modification to easily fix that problem that we'll show you here in a couple minutes. Let's talk about the second problem. The other temperature issue we noticed on our pitboss was the uneven distribution of heat over the cooking surface. In the middle where we've got the fire pot, we noticed that even on low and slow settings like 220, 240 degrees, it's still got a lot hotter right directly over the fire pot. And the reason for this is because pitboss gives you the direct heat option with their adjustable flame broiler plate. Well, this is a great feature to have. Unfortunately, it leaves us with just a thin piece of metal right over the fire pot. So even when the flame broiler plate is closed here, you can see that all we have is this very thin piece of metal over the fire pot, and it's going to give an uneven distribution of heat compared to the sides. When you're doing something like chicken wings or stuff you can move around, you can avoid the middle right over the fire pot, but if you've got a big brisket or racks of ribs, it's an area you can't really avoid. So we wanted to find a way to fix it and get this area in the middle to come down in temperature and be a little more even compared to the rest of the pitboss. Thankfully, we found a simple solution for this problem as well. Before we get into those modifications we made to our pitboss, let's take a look at another type of pellet grill that doesn't have these issues and talk a little bit about why that's the case. So you can see over here I've got a pellet grill from a company called Z Grills. I was given this pellet grill by the company in exchange for doing a review, which is going to come out here in a couple weeks if you want to check it out. But in the course of doing the review, I noticed some interesting things about this pellet grill. So let's take a look inside. When I was doing my review, I noticed that this grill actually had very, very accurate temperature control and very even heating across the entire pellet grill. I went ahead and took the flame broiler plate and the grates out so you could kind of see the inner part of the grill here. So you notice it's similar. We've got our temperature probe right here on the left side. We've got a little ledge for our flame broiler plate to rest on. But then over the fire pot, we have this really, really heavy-duty flame diffuser. So if I pull this out, you can see that our ash pot is down here, and this pellet grill has no option for direct heat because this flame diffuser is always here. So we can't do steaks and hamburgers and other high heat searing type foods on this grill, which is one downside. But the upside is we get very even heat distribution across all the grates on the Z grills. So when I place this back over the fire pot, you'll notice that it's a pretty heavy duty piece of steel, and it's really going to help diffuse that direct heat that's coming up from the fire pot and help it kind of diffuse out the sides as it's to cook our food, which is what it's supposed to do. And then in addition to the flame diffuser over the fire pot, the flame broiler on our Z-Grill has a nice flat surface that rests flush on top of this ledge here. So now, between the flame broiler and the flame diffuser underneath, the only heat coming out to cook our food is coming out nice and evenly along the sides, giving us nice ambient heat to low and slow cook our food. And the thermometer inside the Z-Grill is measuring the true temperature inside the Z-Grill because it's not blowing heat right at the thermometer. So we wanted to figure out if there was a way we could take some of the even cooking temperature attributes of the Z-Grill and apply them to our pitboss, which has the direct heat cooking option, and kind of get the best of both worlds. So we did a little research and we came across a company called Smokes Like a Boss. Now, I have no affiliation with this company. This is not a sponsored video for them by any means. I've never communicated with them. They don't know I exist, other than me buying the products that I'm about to show you from them and having a really good experience that I wanted to share with you. So let's talk about the first one. Now, Smokes Like a Boss, and you can go to smokeslikeaboss.com to check out all their products. I'll put a link down in the video description below. But these guys custom fabricate metal pieces made specifically for your pitboss model. So they fit perfectly in whatever pitboss model you have. You just go in and pick out the one that works for you. The first one I want to show you is the heat diffuser. So the heat diffuser is designed to fit right on that ledge I was showing you before. It's got a nice curved top to it, and it fits right in there. You can screw it in, and what this does is the flame broiler sits right on top of this, and it blocks that airflow that's going right at our thermometer. So if you look, I didn't screw mine in because I wanted to show it to you guys, but it's gonna sit right on that ledge there. And now that's going to block that airflow from coming up and hitting our thermometer. So now the air can only go down and out along the sides, giving us nice, even ambient heat to cook our food with. So you can see the heat deflector has these little tabs that fit right up underneath our flame broiler here, kind of holding it in place. And you can feel right along there, it fits flush up against the underside of the flame broiler, blocking all that hot air that wants to come up right at our thermometer. Another added benefit I noticed of the heat deflector here is because it does lay flush against the underside of the flame broiler, is it does block a lot of the ash from the fire pot from coming up and around and getting on your grates and your food when you're cooking. So if you're looking for a way to minimize how much ash is coming up and around on your food, that's a great way to do it too. Before we talk about the second solution, we just wanted to say thank you for watching this video. We've really enjoyed making these videos to accompany all the content we already have at madbackyard.com. And if you're getting value from these videos and want to see more like them, make sure to let us know by hitting the like button. And if you have any tips or tricks to share that have worked for you on your pitboss, let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Or if there's anything you're struggling with, you're trying to figure out, let us know that as well. Maybe we can look into it and see if we can find a solution for you and post that as a video going forward too. So the heat deflector solved problem number one, which is going to block that hot air that's traveling up the underside of our flame broiler right at the thermometer, causing some temperature accuracy issues. To fix problem number two, they've got another solution called the flame tamer. Now the flame tamer is a fabricated piece of steel that just sits right over your fire pot. So let's see how it works. This is going to come right over the fire pot. You can turn it either straight like this or side to side. I found doing some testing that side to side works better for me. It just gives some more even airflow across my cooking grates. But what this is going to do is just act as a barrier from the flames coming right out of your fire pot underneath the flame broiler, giving you that extra level of heat diffusion, much like we saw worked on the Z-Grill for us, just to give us some more even temperature cooking across the grates. The nice thing about this is it's removable, so if you are making some burgers or steaks or other things where you want high heat and you want that searing capability, just take this out before you start cooking and then put your flame broiler back on and cook like you normally would. Thanks for watching this video on how we fixed the two main temperature issues that we were running into on our pitboss pellet grill. If you want to get more content like this, make sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons below. Check out our website, madbackyard.com. It's got tons of recipes and everything you need to get cooking on your pitboss pellet grill. Thanks for watching. Hey everyone, welcome to Mad Backyard. Today we're going to be... Yard? Why is it so hard to say? Okay. Hey everyone, welcome to Mad Backyard. Today... Yard.